Hello and welcome to the GI Podcast. I am your host, Sid Heeg.
And I'm Toben Racicot. Sid, we're joined by two other people in this stifling room.
Yes, we are. We are joined by Pamela Schmidt, who is the Research Project Manager here at the GI, and also by AC Atienza, who has been on the podcast previously, talking about board game design.
Yeah.
And we're doing things a bit differently this time around. We're more or less treating this podcast as an end-of-year review of the types of games we've played and the types of games that we're looking forward to next year.
I think AC's been on the podcast as much as anyone else other than me at this point. I think you have the most credits other than me.
Sweet. Wow.
And I think you'd be in second now.
No, I've only been on once.
Have you only been on one?
Yeah.
I thought you were on two.
No,
but AC once. Did the D&D one, that's why.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
I aim to keep my lead then.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with some introductions, because we're not talking about research. We're talking about kind of who we are as, I hate to use the term, but gamers. AC, why don't you start? How do you decide what games you play? What are your priorities? And kind of what is your motivation when you play games?
Yeah, so my favorite types of games are ones where you can feel yourself getting better at something, or in general, games where the thing gets better. So my favorite games overall are roguelike games because they provide a very tiny environment where you can fail over and over and get better. In adventure games, if you get better, it's hard to tell because the levels change, but in roguelikes, or even Soulsborne games, which are kind of similar in that,
right,
you're constantly dying, which means when you eventually win, you can know that the thing that got better is like you, which is great. I also like games where if you fail, you don't lose too much. So adventure games, you mess something up. 70 hours later, you realize because you told a witch something bad, now you're doomed to a bad ending or something.
That's why I don't want to play Baldur Gate 3 yet.
That's
really?
I don't
I thought you would have been all over it by now.
Oh, it was brutal.
We'll get to it.
Yes. Baldur's Gate is a weird exception for me because of that, because that game is full of consequences.
Right. Yeah, that's
yeah.
You're like, wow, I gotta really learn from my actions here.
Yeah, shouldn't have
I
killed
wasn't
that
ready
squirrel.
for that.
Yes,
2023.
exactly.
All right, Sid, I would ask you, but the answer is just Red Dead Redemption 2.
Exactly, yes. So we can carry on.
Do you want to explain like why kind of those big sprawling games like Halos and the Red Deads?
It's so interesting because first of all, it has more or less to do with cost, just because games are
true, yes.
very expensive, and I don't see the need to spend quite a lot of money on games. Like, I have to really think about the purchasing. That's just my mindset. But very much when I'm buying a game, I want a game that I can sink like over 200 hours into and feel like even if I'm replaying it and I already know the story, that I'm still getting some sort of like value out of it. Like, I don't care how many times I've played like Red Dead Redemption 2, that story just makes me feel a lot of things regardless of what happens.
It's just cowboys.
It's just a lot of cowboys. Okay? The found family, and then you're like watching this character that you care about like slowly waste away to disease, and you're like, oh my god. But I very much like those open world games. I think that started happening with Red Dead Redemption 2 because that was the first kind of game I bought outside of the Halo ecosystem.
Okay, yeah.
And then I realized, oh my god, I really like open world games because there's so much to do. Then there's all this resource management that you can do. And I like doing the small, difficult challenges because when I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm always 100%ing it every single time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just like the grind that comes with it.
And then, I guess to show or to demonstrate to listeners the advancement. So from Red Dead Redemption 2, you go and buy a Switch. And then you have
there's a story behind that.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, it just like I was never a big Nintendo person. That was
fair.
We didn't have that system when I was growing up, and there was really no need for me to buy more than what I already had gaming wise. Like I already had the Xbox and I had a gaming PC, and I was like good enough because most PlayStation games will eventually be ported to PC anyway, so there's like no point in buying anything else. But then Tears of the Kingdom came out, and then I spent a nice little weekend dog sitting for a friend, and then they had Tears of the Kingdom, and they said,
injected it.
You can feel free to play. And I was like, I think I will. And
this is the abridged version, by the way.
This
is the abridged version.
And then next thing you know, I spend like, $666, the devil's number, and it was well worth the purchase.
Yeah.
So
that stuff never loses value, right?
No.
Like you could turn around tomorrow and sell Breath of the Wild for $80 used, right?
Oh, yeah.
People will pay for it. Yeah. And then you, Pam, probably have the weirdest gaming habits out
I
of
was
any
about
of
to
us.
say, I don't think I have a very strict or succinct gaming habit, which is very me because I don't really like fitting in boxes, and I
Right.
think boundaries are stupid.
You're like a buffet gamer.
Yeah, almost.
Where you
I
like
mean,
sample or you really indulge, but then you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, and I think my problem is like, I think the best way to describe it is I'm like a world builder, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if the world around it is fascinating, I don't care what the play style is. So like, I mean, similar to Sid, I mean, growing up, it was like one console, you sink as much time as you can into it. So you really start analyzing those details or what keeps you coming back. And I've
Yeah.
always been a writer. I've always been a storyteller. So the stories that are told in a variety of formats always interest me. And I mean, then there was a point where Sid and I were working on some academic stuff that required a lot of horror, and both of us into horror. So there's probably a year or two where I was just grinding out horror games. Like I've always liked horror, but I've never played games that frequently in my life. Like I usually play, like I kind of play games at least kind of similar to Sin in that like I want to sink 200 hours into it, even if it's like Super Mario. You know what I mean? Like Hades was a game that I played religiously over the pandemic, but again, I like the world building of it. It wasn't necessarily the play style. I like that like failing led to uncovering more of the story. Like that's what I gravitate to in games. Is like, how is the story being told and what is the world I'm engaging with? Because even something like Super Mario Wonder, games are super easy, super short, but I think it's just such a visually stunning game. Like even though there's no like quote unquote lore in like Mario that's like deep that you can really sink your teeth into, the worlds, the way they've created them is just so pretty. Like I don't know how else to describe it. I just really enjoy it for that visual. So yeah, I don't know. Like I like roguelikes. I like those massive open world games. I like other styles, right? Like the RPGs and whatnot. Horror games are kind of weird. It really depends what you're playing, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm a very weird gamer. I don't know if I have like a type, if that makes sense, which is very me.
Did you play Cyberpunk?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
I've heard it's really good though.
Now that it's
they've turned the ship
yeah,
around.
yeah. I think it's also I don't like GTA like style games because it makes me feel like a psychopath. I tried GTA 4 and people loved it, and I felt like there's something about being like a young woman in high school playing this game and where there's like the mass torture of women and stuff that made me feel very
that's fair.
uncomfortable, and I can't play GTA. I'm just like, there's way too much fucking violence in this.
But did you see the GTA 6 trailer?
No, I didn't want to. I didn't
I
care
didn't
for the
actually.
drama
You
that all
did?
the
How was
fanboys.
it?
I've heard
It's
so much.
fascinating.
Yeah.
This is like the only I messed around in GTAs when I was a kid because it was like, oh, I get to steal cars and like run
Sure,
over people,
sure,
right? It was
sure.
such like a different experience than I'm playing Mario, right? Like that was the
Yeah.
spectrum. And so it's basically they're satirizing like Florida.
Oh, interesting.
So it's very much more contemporary because I didn't understand like GTA 4. Great, it's like this kind of immigrant, New York story. I was like, that doesn't resonate with me.
I
and
mean,
then 5 was
me
even,
being
like,
Slavic,
more
it definitely
hardcore.
resonated
Yeah.
with me because
But
I was like,
now-
yes, my people falling into crime.
Now that I'm older and I understand politics a little bit better, right? And seeing that, I'm like, this might actually be interesting just to see kind of how they remix stuff.
Interesting, yeah.
Well, it's also just like I've heard rumors that it might be like $150.
Probably.
Oh my god, really?
Oh, yeah.
$150?
And
Well, that's the direction AAA games are moving right now.
They would still get
That's
away
so
with it.
expensive.
When I paid for Red Dead 2 back in 2018, that
It was
was
$60.
$90.
No, 90? Really?
$90.
Not
That would
60?
have been
No.
one of the first jumps.
That was
big
one of
jumps.
the first jumps.
Yeah, no
That would
kidding.
be like the amount of hours I sunk into it. Well,
Sure.
Yeah.
$150 on outset for like what is expected to be one of the biggest AAA games for this generation.
And it's been like the hype around it has been so hard. Like even the fanboys are literally turning into like Swifties in terms of like they're analyzing the multiple trailers and breaking down.
There's, like,
There's something about a
50
moon.
or
They're
just,
like,
like-
this is the phase of the moon, which means that like on this date there. I think Donkey
Wow.
made a satire of it, and he
Sure.
literally was breaking down what people were saying. That it was like, oh, based on this phase of the moon, it's like April 19th or something. That means the trailer's gonna drop. Like wild. Like this was some
like,
Swiftie.
It's because it was like
stuff.
There
And,
were
like-
like videos that were already popping up of being like 50 things you missed from
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
90-second trailer, and it's
Yeah.
like, how do you have this much time on your hands?
Well, they do that to Marvel trailers too. That's like,
Oh,
just
totally,
get outta
totally.
here. All right, finish the section off. My big thing now with games is, can I have like a good 15-minute bite and be good?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So no longer can I play Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Oh
Oh,
no.
no.
So it's literally like, can I do a Hades room? Can I do a Hades biome? Can I
Yeah.
level up this Pokemon once? Like that's the kind of thing. And then at night it's like, okay, I'll play Borderlands and like sink into stuff. But
Yeah.
so that's why, and I love, this is probably one of the things I'll always champion on the Switch is like, you can just turn it off at any time and you're
Yes. Yes, I agree.
good. How that would have been nice as a
Okay.
youngster.
Yeah.
Like,
Had
hold
a
on, I gotta
pause
save the
button and
game. I
stuff,
don't know where the
like-
next save crystal is. Okay, so that'll preface when we start talking about games. But I think since we're already talking about GTA 6, let's talk about the news and other items that are kind of most notable that happened in 2023. Most of it is negative.
It is. It's
Yeah.
been such a negative year for game news.
Very
and,
weird.
Like, releases.
So let's start with Unity.
Oh my
Can
God.
someone recap what happened with the Unity debacle?
They basically kind of screwed up their charging for like what people have to pay into the system for, like, if you're a game developer, suddenly you may be asked to pay more for how many people are downloading your game if it's based off of Unity, and it was just a really dumb decision.
But wasn't it also that the decision was rooted in something about like how much money they're making to actually pay their employee? Wasn't it something that it's like it made sense, but it was still a bad choice? I don't remember the details.
Well,
of
it was always a bad choice.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Here,
if
let
it
me
had
pull it
something
up
to do with Unity itself, like wanting to pay their employees more. That would be fascinating if that was actually
Unity.
part
I
of
don't
it,
think that
because
was.
I don't know if any company lately is like, I'm going to charge clients more so that I can pay my employees more. Usually, right, it just goes straight to pocket.
But it was just interesting to see the conversation that people were having online of just like, does this mean like, you know, based on what I'm already making on, especially for the bigger games, like say like Among Us or Fall Guys, which is all Unity based.
Well, I mean, like,
like, does this mean that we're gonna be like paying you guys? Right?
Yeah.
So that just
that's like you and I play a lot of Phasmophobia, and it's like
Is that Unity based?
It is
Okay.
actually, and they actually made a post on Steam just being like, "Hey, we are a Unity-based platform. We're still going to be, regardless of what happens,
Right.
because they're big enough now. Like they're looking into consoles and stuff, but still, they're like, we're going to start looking at solutions, or they're like, we don't want to compromise the integrity or like the quality of the game, depending on what happens with Unity." And it was a very blanket statement of like, we're
Good.
aware of the situation, we're monitoring it. Don't worry about what's going to happen with the game for now.
Yeah.
But I just looked it up quickly on like Game Rant, and it just says currently the latest news is Unity CEO is stepping down following pricing controversy.
Yeah, they
So,
Massive payout, so really
it doesn't matter. But essentially, I think what this did is it showed how fickle these engines are.
oh,
Yeah.
totally.
And if you're building games, so the Slay the Spire devs, Slay the Spire is built in Unity. They're working on their second game, and they're like halfway through, and this launched, and they're like, well, I guess we're porting this to a different engine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Because they
Unreal
didn't
or
want to take the
something.
chance of we launch this, and then all of a sudden we either owe more money or it get changed again and again and again and again, all this stuff,
Yeah.
right?
I think it kind of shattered the illusion of some kind of consistency or expectation that Unity is just the platform, the standard, the way, like, I don't know, Google Docs or MS Word. I mean, MS Word, that was shattered with Google Docs coming out and people being like, oh, I don't have to pay a subscription to, like, write words. I know MS Word can have its perks and stuff, but...
Well, yeah, especially for students, right? I mean, like, you get it for free through your university or your high school.
Yeah.
Right, and so that is interesting. That's an interesting thread because Unity is what they taught here in
Well,
their
that's what
digital
I
arts
was thinking.
communications.
Yeah.
Well, I
'Cause-
think we have like a piece of hardware that's based off of Unity.
Right.
Well, lots.
Yeah.
So it's almost revamping or causing to need a revamp of just how education for game design works, because Unity was always the standard of like it's free, it's easy to use, it's it's kind of the
But now it feels like
I've heard it's
accessible
very
version.
user friendly
It
because
is.
even like for the game jams that were running out of the GI, they'd have like a 1-day Unity workshop. Very easy to even just make something simple in Unity, and I remember that was like a big draw to it was how like user friendly the platform was.
I think the bet they were placing was that it's so ubiquitous now that everyone will just have to suck it up and join, basically, and start paying. Technically, you don't really have to pay until 200,000 people have got the game. But I believe it didn't differentiate between people actually downloading the game normally and like bots getting the game, and also didn't care if you were
It's just
playing for free or
downloads,
not.
yeah, it was just straight downloads,
multiple
yeah.
platforms. So
So the other side that I've seen is that it wasn't just like, hey, you're building, a roguelike and you're going to get maybe 10,000 downloads. They didn't really care about that. What their target audience is Genshin Impact and
That makes sense.
Marvel Snap
Hearthstone.
and Call of Duty Go. One of those
One
ones
of the mobile
is
online things.
is built in Unity. And so when millions of people are downloading it, they wanted a cut of that action.
Yeah.
But what happened then is they upset the indie developers. And then everything.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I remember there was something of like a reason why it was happening, and I think I read
Pokemon
something
Go,
on,
that's the other one.
I think I read something on Reddit where someone was like, no, it actually makes sense if you look at it only from Genshin Impact, but as you said, it like screws the pooch for like all the indie devs
Everybody's
and whatnot,
toast
right?
with it,
Yeah.
And who's the backbone of the real game economy? Well, the indie.
It is the indie people. I mean, you're going to
is.
have your Pokemon Go people that are, playing religiously and whatever, but it's the indies who are going to push that horizon a little bit more.
Yeah.
Microsoft acquired Activision this year.
What a interesting conclusion to a
Alright,
very
I'll-
messy situation.
Here's the thing about Activision and Blizzard, because they've had a really terrible year. because
no
not
kidding.
only was all this acquisition stuff happening of just, again, Microsoft being like, we have so much money, we'll just buy out everyone.
What was it? 70 billion? 69 billion? It was a big number.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But then also they completely screwed up their Overwatch 2.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah.
I
So
forgot
it was
about
just
that.
like, wow, what a losing battle for a terrible game. And also a terrible, just like all the news of, the sexual harassment that was coming out of Activision and Blizzard. in the past,
Well, that's why I was
Yeah.
like the controversy that came out of Blizzard initially. I remember Toben, you and I were having conversations about this where I was like boycotting all Blizzard games because I was like, I cannot support this company anymore. This is bad. This requires like gutting out from the inside out to fix the problem of mass sexual harassment and unfortunately, I'll use the censored like unaliving that was happening because of the trauma that was being occurred towards the majority female employees, right? And I don't know, I kind of haven't been really following it since because I'm like, just getting swept up by Microsoft really doesn't necessarily doesn't mean that the problem is going to be solved, right? And I mean, until I see like actual substantial change or something, which it's hard to tell in companies, I just kind of stopped following it because I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. Everyone who's playing Overwatch or is like, thank God, now it's not Blizzard anymore, it's Microsoft. And that makes me feel better, even though boycotts are kind of like for life, if you think of boycotts.
Well, it's also just like what realistically is, I don't think I've been keeping up with any of the games that Activision and Blizzard has put out recently, just because I'm like...
Diablo 4 was kind of a mess.
Yeah, that's the one we had the
Overwatch 2 was
conversation
kind of a
about.
mess, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear Diablo 4 made a lot of money though, regardless
Of course
of
it
the
does.
reviews and
Of course
stuff.
it did.
So will it be seen as a success by like the shareholders?
Do
and
gamer
such?
boys care about what's happening in the industry? No.
But the shareholders
As long
do,
as I
and
get
that's-
my Diablo.
Yeah.
What was the story behind Diablo 4? Like, did it just not play well or perform well when it first came out?
I think it was just boring, right? It was very much just like, here's a very bland game and here's our monetization, right? Like that's how they kind of pushed it.
Yeah.
The same thing with Diablo Immortal. When that launched, it was very dull, but like, hey, you could spend $50,000 to get all the stuff you want, is that kind of thing. But I think they turned it around a little bit from what I've also heard. I haven't been playing it.
I think Diablo 4 specifically suffered from launching very close to Baldur's Gate, because
that's true. That was the summer, and then Baldur's Gate was the end of summer.
Yeah, and I think like the group of people who play Diablo 4 and Baldur's Gate, like it was easy to transition and not look back to Diablo, which kind of hurt it a lot.
Yeah. So I wanted to, because I knew most of the talk about this was going to be devil's advocate, it was going to be negative. I wanted to be devil's advocate just for one small thing. It's not like Activision needs the money, but I watched a documentary about Double Fine, the makers of Psychonauts.
Ooh.
Interesting.
And so they've been struggling, basically since their inception to get funding and to have stability. And, it was always like, okay, we're making this game, but layoffs were always kind of just on the horizon. And they ended up getting bought by Microsoft. And essentially now they just have like carte blanche to do whatever they want. So in terms of that, and like you would consider Double Fine an indie studio, right? Essentially. Yeah. And so what I want to put forward is, yes, there needs to be some cleanups. There needs to be lots of stuff addressed. But I'm curious and hopeful that the quality now has to be measured up to like Microsoft's own thing. Yeah. Of course, this year we have the weird thing of like, what are they called? Arcane launching Redfall, which was this kind of very bland, dull game.
Yep.
And
it was boring. It was so boring.
Slid through the filter somehow, right? So it's like at some point there has to be a level of quality. But on the other hand, hopefully this allows for other things to happen. Maybe we start getting games other than like Diablo and Call of Duty and, like the kind of typical flagship series that we have. I don't know. So hopefully something good comes of it, because there is a track record of studios that get bought by Microsoft having a bit more freedom and stability and not having to worry about that.
Not so much about the finances, right? We'll see.
Yeah. So then segueing into that, layoffs at Bungie, huge layoffs at Bungie.
Huge.
To the point where like
really
they
upsetting.
might lose their independence, I was reading, if it doesn't match their financial goals.
It's really unfortunate because there have been a lot of layoffs in
this whole year,
general, and then also like the push for unionization, because it really needs to happen.
Yeah.
It does.
Because like, of the few people that I know that have worked in the games industry, it's just so stressful to be like laid off from one company and you're like, I kind of want to create games, but I don't know if I can go back into that industry because it'll be just not a job.
Or some of the other people that I know, it's like they gain specific skills through companies, and then when they were laid off for whatever reason, they don't have like Google certificates or anything. Like it's just, it's so hard then to transfer those skills over, or people want like a dev that can do one thing, not like 5 anymore. So it's like, okay, you are technically more expensive or something because you have more skills, as opposed to someone like fresh out of grad school who knows how to do this one thing and can kind of be siphoned. Well, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just like it spells kind of like a worrying direction for these like bigger studios that a lot of us have like grown up and developed with over time, and it just means that it's like, well, what's going to be like the next big thing, or is it going to mean that, you know, well, especially for Bungie, it's just going to be like, well, oof, R.I.P. You were such a classic mainstay in the early 2000s, but it's like, oof, don't know where you're going to go after this.
Yeah, and then the same can be said for BioWare, because I don't remember the last time BioWare released a good game.
Neither can I.
They keep praying for that BioWare magic, and I'm like, are we all just, you know, have rose-colored glasses when it comes to even like the original Mass Effect trilogy? Who knows at this point? There's still, you know,
I don't think I'd be able to replay Mass Effect, honestly.
Well, it's just like if they did like say like a remastered edition of the original Mass Effect trilogy, I feel like
they did.
I feel
it's
like
Legendary Edition.
Oh, is it Legendary Edition? Well,
I wanted to say, I think with that there was nothing else like that at the time.
No.
Yes.
And nowadays,
you have
everyone,
so much to choose from.
Exactly. It's such a saturated market that like everyone's trying to do Mass Effect to some degree. Like when I played The Witcher 3, I was like, oh, this is Mass Effect with a horse and a sword. That's like the vibe I got from it, right? You weren't like collecting people the same way that you do in Mass Effect.
Well, kind of.
I mean, yeah, there's some Mass Effect-y stuff like that, but you're not with a party. Right? Mass Effect needed a mini game like Gwent. That would have been freaking amazing.
It's also just like the expectation now is you have to have some sort of huge online component to make the game worth it.
Exactly.
To make it financially successful, essentially, which is unfortunate.
And I think too, similar to perhaps what we've seen with a lot of these, you know, sequels of Diablo 4 and et cetera, is that the people who are waiting for BioWare's next game are waiting for it to match the magnitude and the nostalgia they had for Dragon Age or Mass Effect, and you're never going to do that again because the landscape is so different.
Yeah, I think a lot of the expectation is like, I want to be wowed by the same degree that the previous games wowed me, and they can create the same game. They could even make it better, but it probably won't wow anyone by that degree anymore.
No, because you've had that flavor before.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
I heard like there are people who loved Mass Effect Andromeda, and I haven't played it.
Oh, people love Andromeda for the shipping. It's the fan fiction that gets it pumping.
Yeah, I heard it's like technically not a bad game, but it just completely missed everyone's expectations and then gets viewed as a bad game and then perception.
It's just, you know, a new game with new characters in the same universe, and people are like, oh, but maybe they wanted more Shepard or more of what they already knew previously.
Yeah, I think I've listened to a podcast where they talk about this idea of like, in games are very similar to music, right? You can have a band, I'll use an example like Yellowcard. So they release Ocean Avenue, it's this like punk anthem, right? And then they release Light and Sound, and it's very rock. And then it progressively just gets like more and more and more and more rock, right? Because they want to grow as artists. They want to try new things. They want to do this. And some people will be there for them, right? Like I'll buy every Supergiant game that's released because I trust that what they're going to do is going to be good. But I've stopped buying BioWare games. I mean, I played Mass Effect 3 and was like, yeah, I get it. I think I'm good. Right?
Well, that's like even the CEO from Nintendo, or the guy who was like the narrative director for Tears of the Kingdom, came out recently and made a statement of like, why would you want anything that isn't of the magnitude of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom? Basically selling, because a lot of the fans are asking for more of those nostalgic or smaller compact Link games.
Give us more Spirit Tracks.
Exactly. More Skyward Sword, right? Yeah. And he was like, no. He's like, I understand the nostalgia, but he's like, why would you even want that? Let us innovate into the future. And that's kind of what you're talking about. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. I saw it, like, it was such a fascinating take on, like...
I definitely resonate with the idea of like letting the developers designers design what they want to, and grow both themselves as like creators and also grow the franchise and like redefine what things mean. Like I wonder with Ocarina of Time, that was the first 3D Zelda, right? There wasn't like some weird pseudo. Okay. I wonder if people are like, this isn't a Zelda game. It's 3D. Zelda games have to be top down. Right. Each screen is a separate area, you know, kind of like with roguelikes when they met in France and said roguelike games have to be turn-based and you need random potions. Yeah. And they set all these like very specific expectations.
Yeah, because I don't think that people would be like, hey, Yellowcard, I'm going to kill you because this album sucks. but that's all over the place in games, right?
Mhm.
The death threats and that kind of culture is just like super intense. And I don't think and I think that's the problem, is that companies like Activision and Blizzard and EA and stuff are releasing the same thing because they know it's safe to some degree, right? This FIFA is going to make another $50 million and it's the safe bet. And I mean, GTA 6, right? We're already in 6, Fallout 5, Skyrim 6, right? Like we're getting into big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So
although Skyrim 6, I mean, well, not it would be Elder Scrolls 6.
Right, sorry. Yeah. Skyrim 6.
I mean,
they've almost released it 6 times.
I mean, to be fair, and it's interesting too, because even something like from what I've heard from Elder Scrolls 6 news, because I loved Skyrim, so I was following that for quite some time. But I mean, at the reality now, it was released almost a decade ago. And there's so many like where people were begging them because their world, like they have this entire map of Tamriel, right? And so they've done certain locations in the past, and there's a lot of rumors that because they released a trailer, I think like 2 years ago, like a 6 minute
mountain
mountain,
They think
and people
it's
were
gonna be...
speculating the environment, and they're like, we've asked them to do the worlds or the countries rather that they haven't done before, and it looks like they're just redoing something from one of their OG games because they want to revisit it. And it's like, and so the devs are probably like, oh yeah, we kind of AC what you were saying, like, oh, we want to revisit this, but people are like, but we haven't explored these places. We want the, like for example, they haven't explored Black Marsh yet. Also, any of the critter places, let's be real, like the furries, what are they called?
Khajiit?
Yes, the Khajiit, and then the reptilian, I
don't know what they're called.
The lizard people.
But not at all terrible stereotypes.
No, and of course those are the 2 stereotypical lands that they don't want to go to.
Yeah.
Or there's also the wood elves, which are also treated. It's kind of ironic that the creatures and the races that are treated more discriminatorily in the games are the exact countries that have not been explored yet, and that they don't want to. So
That's an interesting point of developers these days, especially for the major studios, kind of reusing old assets.
Yeah.
But they're saying, oh, but
remastered.
on it and it looks all new again, right? Like with the
now we can do what we wanted to originally.
Like the Resident Evil remakes are coming out. Or
yeah.
That, what is it? Resident Evil 8 is basically just the rehash.
7.
Oh my God!
Evil
It's basically a rehash of Resident Evil 4. It's
oh yeah, you're right.
It's a remote European village that has a cult mentality, and you kill the big cult leader. That's basically Resident Evil 8 is a repackaged and poorly repackaged, because at least Resident Evil 4 had a concrete storyline and less like mess. But I could talk about the mess of Resident Evil 8 for hours, so let's not get into it because it's such a convoluted game for no good reason.
Or it's just like, I think Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom had some reuse of.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it was basically Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
But Tears of the Kingdom was DLC for Breath of the Wild, and they said no, it's too big, and then they just expanded it to be its own game. Yeah. So it's going to be the third thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the games that we enjoyed this year. AC, let's talk about Monster Train.
Love that game. So I actually played Monster Train a few years ago. So this year specifically wasn't just playing Monster Train, but replaying Monster Train.
Right.
After the YouTube algorithm started showing me Rising Dusk. Yeah, exactly.
So good.
I was going to say trains.
Yes, trains.
Also, you messaged me, Toben, with
all the time.
talking about Monster Train stuff. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot.
I have no one to share my addiction with except AC. Yes. So what is Monster Train?
Monster Train is a roguelike deck builder. You play as the Hellborn, and you basically represent a covenant of different rings of hell. So the Stygian are like aquatic frozen kind of fellas. The Hellhorned, which are like the typical demonic types. The Waxen, which are like perpetually reviving people made of like wax, like candle people.
Wax. They're so cool. Such crazy visual design.
The world building is very cool.
It actually sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But the idea is you need to revive hell by bringing the last remnants of your pyre back down to hell because hell had frozen over. Yeah. And you're basically fighting heaven's forces the whole way.
Yeah.
That's
So you're the
so
bad guys.
fascinating.
It's very fun.
Like beating up angels and stuff.
Beating up angels.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And in terms of gameplay, the main thing that is cool about it is the way that the multiplicative scaling works and the way that you can really customize your deck to do really OP things in a huge number of ways. And so the game is really appealing for, usually for roguelike games, you have to do a bit of number crunching to be like, okay, if I do this, this is 14 damage, they have 14 health, that's good.
Right.
But with Monster Train, it's like multi-strike plus this egg that hatches into 2 people means I strike 4 times. Whatever the number is, it's a good number.
Yeah.
So you get to just enjoy finding synergies and stuff instead of specifically calculating numbers except for really high Covenant levels.
Yeah. And I personally pick Monster Train over Slay the Spire because it's also kind of tower defense-y.
Yeah,
there's an aspect of that. So within your train, there's 3 levels. Your health crystal is at the very top. So you have to be like, I'm going to place my people at the bottom so they can perhaps debuff people as they go up. And then every turn the enemies go up until they attack the thing. So there's some kind of strategy layers with that as well. But that's really fun. Pam, do you want to talk more about Super Mario Wonder? I played Wonder.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a good game. No, seriously, like oh god, I haven't played a Mario game in a while that I've actually been really, really into. Other than Luigi's Haunted Mansion 3, which Sid and I are doing a very cursed asymmetric gameplay run for no good reason, which means it's a one-player game. Where are you in that? We just beat the plant level.
Oh, that's about where I stopped.
Oh, see that? No, where Sid and I basically, it's a one-player game, but Sid holds one Switch controller and I hold the other.
Are you Luigi or Gooigi?
No,
yeah,
no. We're the same character at the same time.
Yeah.
What?
Sid does the running and I do the shooting.
Oh, okay, weird.
Like it's a one-player, but we're just doing like an asymmetric gameplay.
Yeah.
The hardest part we had with that is when we were being attacked by the piano.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a fun boss.
It was a great boss.
It was probably the most difficult one.
But we're like screaming at each other. We're like, "You idiot! You didn't do this!" But anyways, back to Super Mario Wonder. I really like video game donkeys reviews sometimes. They're just nice, funny, and compact kind of thing. And I just saw Super Mario turn into an elephant, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And also the reason is that I kind of got into is I'm like the oldest cousin by a lot. Like everyone's like especially the ones living in Canada. Like my next cousin is 12. So holiday season and whatnot, so I was like, and I'm also his godmother, so I'm the first call for babysitting. So I was like, because he's kind of very much like that iPad baby, or where parents have too much time, so they're like, oh yeah, we'll get you this war game, and I'm like, you're a child, you have to enjoy child things. So I was like, let me buy for the holidays like Super Mario, like something we can play 2-player in and whatnot. And he and I started it initially. Oh my god, we had so much fun, and I like how kind of Toben, what you were saying, like I don't really have a lot of time anymore to play games too, so it's nice when I can get like a quick like 15-minute fix of something.
1 or 2 levels.
Exactly. And with Super Mario Wonder, again, the gameplay is just so pretty. It's very simple. You don't really need a story. And it's like, what's nice is also like, okay, let's say you start off the game playing with 2 players, and suddenly one of those players, goes home, whatever. You want to play solo now. You don't have to start from scratch or make a new save file. You can just increase or decrease the amount of players. It's not really like, smart. Okay, I choose Yoshi, I have to play for Yoshi for life. It's like, no, it's like, I'm bored of this character. Let me change into a new character. Totally different play experience because they all have a slightly different power.
It's like Mario 2 style, right? Where like Luigi does jump a little bit higher, noticeably.
Or the princesses always jump super high. Yeah.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
It's super interesting in ways that you can, like, if you're trying to especially like 100% the levels.
Yeah.
So that's what you and
I'm doing.
And a mutual friend tried to do as well. Just like try to get all of the things.
Got to get all the wonder
until
seeds.
You got sick of it.
Well,
I was like, let's do it again. You're like, I'm never doing this again. Next level. And I was like, all right. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I did. Is I'm actually doing a second run through of it because the first one I just kind of wanted to experience it.
Right.
And also like Jack Black has forever ruined Bowser for me because now this new Bowser is so musical and he's like, come into my jam of like rock hell.
Yeah, there's
and
a lot of music scenes.
All I can think of is Jack Black, but maybe he's the revival that Bowser as a character needed.
So.
If they added in Peaches at the very end, I would have been hilarious. But anyways, it's like now I'm playing it to completionist mode because it's actually not that hard. It's like, okay, land at the very top of the flagpole, get your whatever wonder seeds you need, and 3 of the big 10 coins. Yeah. Like it's not very hard that I can now be like, okay, let me replay a level. It'll probably take me at max 5 times maybe to get all the items. And it's just very stunning. Like it's just a pretty game to look at, and I like the worlds. I like the little like it's time to go underwater now and stuff. And like I think the desert level was my favorite. I don't know if you got that far yet, Toben.
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, it was so cool. No, but there's so many hidden levels. Like you actually have to run around the desert
there's stuff
area
in waterfalls. There's like mirages that you need to chase down.
And they have like funny
and
music.
stuff.
Like you have to do a ninja dance time, and like one of them is like a haunted mansion with little mummies in it, and you have to like pull the mummies apart. And it's like I don't know why it just like gave some childlike joy to me again. So I've been really
it captures wonder in a way that other games don't. Like they named it perfectly.
It's like it's a beautiful game, and it's just so wonderful. So yeah, it's even like I played it with my 12-year-old cousin, and then I brought it to sit in our mutual friend to play, and like the three of us played it probably for 3 hours. Like we just were so into it and couldn't stop.
Yeah, you can get into a really good flow state because they do such a good job of like decreasing the difficulty that kind of you make out of it what you need. So it's like, are we going to do completionist runs? That's up to you to do.
Exactly.
Are you going to just get the one wonder flower? That's for you to decide. Because there's also the thing that I love about it, playing with my son, there's no timer.
Yes.
So you can just finish a stage in 5 minutes if it takes you that long, or 10, or you can be like, I don't know where the wonder seed is.
And you can run back.
Yeah.
Like you don't, if you get to the flag and you're like, I feel like I'm missing stuff, time to run back in the level. Like there's some levels that force you to stop, but it has a good balance of that.
I'm really glad about that game doing well or being well received because of the story of what I heard with the devs where they were just given free reign to design.
Yeah.
It feels like an indie game.
Timeline.
It feels like an indie game in a way that other Marios don't.
But I think you're right, AC, that they were just kind of given like without the creative crunch, right? They're just basically given like free
because it's also
state
short. Right, like it's not. So I played the Wii U one, the one they keep remastering, the one that they put with Bowser's Fury, and that one's like huge. And this one, I think I finished it in maybe 15 hours.
Yeah, it's about a 15-hour game.
I think I appreciate now games that end. Just
when
games
they,
that
when
end.
they should.
Period.
Yeah. So Baldur's Gate is an exception to a lot of my general video game thoughts, but overall, I like when a game knows when it's over so that it can properly wrap things up before it gets bad.
Yeah. I think it's like I've noticed that a lot now is that there's almost a higher demand now for games to have more of that storytelling aspect. And if you screw it up, you screw it up and you're gonna get mass backlash of like the narrative sucked. Like there's such a higher expectation now on narrative than there used to be, except for some of those roguelike, although Hades is an exception. Like the narrative of that game,
and that's one of the first roguelikes to do something like
and
that.
I really like also that Hades. I hate, like I know I see what you're saying when a game ends, it ends, but I also hate that sometimes when a game ends and there's so much to do, I just don't care about doing it anymore. Hades is like an exception where even after the game quote unquote ends, you still
gotta
have
upgrade all the weapons.
But you still have like there's still narrative bites you can get out of it. Like there's still a motivation
like
to
the
keep
true
playing.
ending.
Yeah, like there's motivation to keep going.
Yeah.
Right, and to keep playing and to uncover more about the characters because you can unlock the backstory from all the gods too.
Right.
Like there's actual stuff you can do to like feed into the
lore.
narrative, or you can restart it. Like no problem.
I need to like 100% that in preparation for Hades 2.
Yes, I'm excited for that one.
Okay, so
I am and I'm not. In terms of story, again, it's a narrative thing for me.
It's more witchy.
Well, because apparently it's more Roman god now, and I'm like, I would have liked, like, there's so many Greek myths. Like, you could have maybe focused on something else, right? Like,
from what?
Instead of let's go to the Romans, the Italians who, stole the gods and named them after their own names.
I think it's still gonna be more Greeky.
Because
what's his face is still in it. Like Zagreus is still a part
Zagreus is still
of
in it, but they have, like, from what I've seen, it was like the Greek gods, but with their Roman names.
Oh, okay. Maybe is that what Hecates is? That
I think
Roman
so.
thing?
I mean, Sabrina was a fellow GI person here who's very Italian and lets us all know it. Like she was like, yes, finally, my people, the mythology, it's here, and I was like, I'll take your word for it that it's Roman.
All right. So I wanted to bring up, pausing on that, I wanted to bring up this idea of narrative. So in the comics world, we always have the discussion, can good art save bad story, and could good story save bad art?
Yeah.
How does that work in video games?
That's
If Red Dead Redemption 2 was the dullest story ever, would you still 100% it multiple times? Even though the gameplay mechanics in the world and all that stuff?
I don't know.
I don't think so, because look at Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, I'd still play the shit out of that one.
But I wouldn't, right?
Wouldn't.
I wouldn't. Well, you and I played the first round of it together.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, nope, bad story, hate it. And I
No,
haven't touched it since.
The thing is, it's just because of the repetitiveness of the mechanics that really draw me in. I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit. It's also just like, I'm also a lover of bad media.
Oh,
That's-
you're a B-movie
I was about to
enthusiast
say, we
kinda
need to
thing?
get the, where's Dr. Naka's, like, hexaclad, like, player type? Do we do a little BuzzFeed personality quiz to figure out what hexa player we are?
There were some, for Horizon Forbidden West specifically, they tried to do too much with the story.
Right.
At
Expand
least
it too much.
A third of it shouldn't have been in there.
No, it should have been like a third game.
It should have been part of game 3.
Right.
But so that was where it just got, way too bloated. But the rest of it that's there, I'm just like, oh, that's fine. And not only that, but like I would go my usual route of open world. I'm gonna go fuck
Find
around
everything.
before I do anything main
Yeah.
story wise, which is what's gonna be the appeal for me. So yeah.
I think of like story mechanics, art, that kind of thing. I think of them as like horses pulling that wagon. Like that study I heard about it might be apocryphal, but the one where it's like, one horse can pull a wagon 30 kilometers.
That's why
or whatever.
you yoke oxen together, is because it like
Exactly.
multiplies their strength.
Yeah.
But then it's like, if you think about it, like, sure, you'll play it like kicking and screaming, but then you get a game that has a good balance of both. Like, I'm thinking even the horror genre is so stale. And then this is another one, Sid and I.
Very
But no. But when we played Mortuary Assistant,
that was a good
oh my god, like
Yeah.
the narrative in it was so compelling with
was.
interesting ties for it to kind of go further. And then the gameplay was so different and unique and like genuinely scary. Like, I haven't been, like, I'm not a jumper, I'm not a screamer. Like, I tend to kind of,
pretty good.
Yeah.
Overtly used like jump scare
The typical
tactics. It
cliches.
was just like
No,
something
no.
you turn your vision away and then you look back down the same hallway and it's changed. And it's just
Ooh, I love.
and
that
you're
song.
kind of, and it's very uncanny valley
Yeah.
at sometimes.
And,
Yeah.
alright, I need to go do this thing. I need to look away, but something's gonna happen in that hallway when I do.
And you know,
look
yeah.
away, and then all of a sudden it's much closer. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
No,
I
it's
love
it's
that.
so that
So good.
but so then a game like that, I replayed it and replayed it and replayed it and completed it, like, as an example, because it had such a good balance of both. So I don't know, but I'm very picky with my media. I'm not a Sid type. I'm like
I'll
like
just consume it and I'll be like, yeah.
Because there's two examples in the RPG world from late last year, early this year. So you had Chained Echoes, which was kind of this homage back to stuff like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. It was made by a German, so everything was written in German and then
Interesting.
translated over.
oh, that's hard.
So
That's
there's
hard. You lose
like
meaning.
everybody, right? It has like a 91 or something on Metacritic for like
Yeah.
a solo dev, right? That's
Yeah.
insane. But everybody's critique is like the writing is weird because there's this translation issue.
Yeah.
But we've had discussions like this with The Witcher, where I was
Okay,
telling
yeah.
you I can't play The Witcher
In
in
English,
English. I
yeah.
play it in Polish, and I read the books also in Polish.
Right.
So I remember explaining certain nuance to you, where you're like, I didn't really get this, and I was like, oh, because this is
Because the
this, and you're
plant
like,
means this, and yeah.
and you're like, oh, that makes sense now, and I'm like, yes, because it's translation and like cultural nuance that doesn't necessarily
Exactly.
translate, right?
Yeah. So then the second, more local, Quebec-based Sabotage Studios released Sea of Stars this year, written in Quebecois French,
Oh.
then translated.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And so with that one, it's dual. There's kind of two errors. One is that it's a translation issue,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of times where I was like, you're missing like a bunch of punctuation and like stuff like that. And it's, if I notice it, then it's bad because
Yeah.
I don't know anything about punctuation. But there's also not a specific writer credited on that game.
Oh, that's not good.
And I remember when Days Gone. Do you remember Days Gone, the zombie motorcycle game?
Yeah.
I remember watching an interview with them, and it was like the three main people, right? The programmer, an engineer, and like an artist. And they're like, we're not going to hire a writer. We can do it ourselves.
I hate that mentality. I hate
And I was
that
like,
mentality.
why the hell are you doing this? And it was so poorly written.
But you even see that, like, I think you see that trend everywhere. Like, even now with any tech giants, they're like, why would we hire someone from English when we can just hire more engineers? And then they're
Yeah.
like, uh-oh, ethical problems. Uh-oh, people don't know how to use the
Or like
material, or
the-
social context, or social
Or,
impact,
like,
rather.
Hollywood thinking, why do we need a writer?
Yeah,
for
AI
this?"
and
Yeah,
all that
it's,
stuff
so
like
I think
that.
we're just seeing a growing trend throughout all industries right now of like a kind of a fall of respect for kind of humanities, arts, narrative
Yes.
writing, and the kind of the importance that it is.
Because you can't just like build a game and say, haha, we have a game. It's like,
I wonder if
why
it's
would
a
I play it?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a bit like bass players in a band or something. Like, you notice the absence more than the presence.
Interesting.
That's a great. I love that. As somebody who usually discounts bass players,
On
You
your
gotta think about them.
my favorite bass player is the pianist's left hand. That's the, that's the thing. All
on
right.
YouTube, there's a lot of interesting songs. Like, they do side-by-side comparisons of
Yeah.
like,
Oh no,
but-
it's
yeah,
it's
very cool to
noticeably
hear.
different. Let's talk. I'm scared to start talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Let's talk about Elden Ring first.
No.
lovely game.
Yeah, let's talk about Elden Ring. AC and I'll have another moment. You two just listen.
I was about to say I have Elden Ring. I haven't started it yet.
Elden Ring.
Why
very
did this
good.
click for you?
So Elden Ring clicked for me because I enjoyed the main reason I got it was I heard people talking about how weird the world building was. And I also heard that people were complaining that it was too difficult. And I was thinking, surely
It's a
not.
Souls game, though.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Have you played Bloodborne?
Yeah, so,
Are you even good at this?
so I thought I'd give it a shot. And it was indeed, the world building was
Oh,
indeed very cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have an anecdote that I'll share.
And
I'm so excited, Toben.
I really enjoyed the designs of the boss fights, especially. I think I like the boss. I mean, that's the point
Yes,
of playing this type of
exactly.
game.
Those are the-
But they did a really good job, with the exception of one twin sentinel gargoyle fight. I think all of them were very good.
Oh yeah, they bring back that old Dark Souls classic. So world building, right? It's FromSoft, so it's all very obtuse.
Yeah.
You know,
But
lots
it's also,
of
didn't they get in
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, to do some of the writing for it.
Yeah,
so.
I won't go into that stuff. There's the thing of like the god is actually a woman and it impregnates itself and has the king and
Why not?
Like typical Dark Souls stuff, honestly, right?
I was about to say that sounds on par for Dark Souls.
Now that I say it out loud, I'm like, no, that's fair. That's like all of what Bloodborne
in your head
was.
this sounded worse.
Yeah. Well, whatever. So there's a boss called Radon. He's this big, like colossal general, and he's on this teeny tiny horse. Okay, so it's really funny visually. He has these two big scimitars, and he is like the lord of gravity. Okay. So in the game, there's like blue. There's blue magic, which is like star sorcery. There's fire sorcery, and then the purple stuff is all like gravity based. So his attacks are always purple. And when you kill him, there's this cutscene of, because now he's dead, like the meteors and essentially like the moon falls into the world.
Oh my god.
And so for all that time you're playing on, like the basic starting land area, and there's some ups and downs and things like that, whatever, right? So, and by that point you're very familiar with how this landscape looks. You kill this boss, you get this cutscene, you don't notice anything different right away. You go back to the starting area, and instead of it being kind of this nice like plain, there's literally a hole right in the center of this thing.
Whoa.
And so then you work your way down, and then you find out that there's essentially, similar to Tears of the Kingdom, an entire other ecosystem.
Yes, I remember you telling me this, that you're like, oh my god, there's another world completely underneath.
I think that's a good like microcosm of what Elden Ring does in general, especially like I think the prophecy talking about it was like Radon holds the moon back or the meteor back, or fate has stilled, and when you kill him, fate will resume its course and the meteor will crash down. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like some fun prophecy stuff. And then it literally comes down like, oh, okay. I guess that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't know I was part of the prophecy.
and then you go and you spend another like 40 hours in that, and then you can get to another area that's another 20 hours. Like, it's just insane how much content there is and that kind of thing. So I guess this is probably the best time to segue into Tears of the Kingdom. So somebody start that, because I have negative opinions about it. We shouldn't start with that.
To set the scene, I think AC has the most nuanced opinion as a Zelda player, long-term Zelda player. But AC and Sid are on the I loved it side, and Toben and I are on the we didn't like it side. so just to make that clear.
And I gave it a fair shot.
I did too.
Yeah. I landed. I was off of the tutorial sky zone.
Okay.
I was finding stuff. I had all my powers.
Did you do any of the temples?
I didn't get to a single temple.
Okay.
And that probably would have opened my eyes a bit more. Although, probably my least favorite part of Breath of the Wild was the Divine Beasts.
I'm gonna say also.
Yeah.
But also, Toben, have you played any other? You've also played lots of Zelda games.
Everything.
Oh, okay. So so. Yes, because I think I've played medium amount of Zelda games. This was Sid's first Zelda game, and then the two of you would be the Zelda veterans.
Yeah, like I've played NES all the way through, in some some smattering of it.
I didn't play Legend of Link, and I didn't play Spirit Track. No, I did play. I didn't play Phantom Hourglass. Those are the two.
Do you know what's funny? Phantom Hourglass was my first Zelda game, and then Spirit Tracks or whichever one came first.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed them for the DS capabilities and stuff. But
okay, so Sid, this is your first exposure. You drank the Kool-Aid, then you made yourself some more Kool-Aid,
and you liked it.
What about this makes it click, other than like the kind of Red Deadiness of it?
I just really enjoyed, obviously, because it's an open world game and those just things. So if I'm farming, if I'm grinding, that just really clicks for me, where I can just like absolutely farm. There's a lot of things I can collect, just to like build up a sense of how well I am familiar with the world. Okay. That's what I kind of like about it. Just like going to absolutely everything, every single corner, exploring the absolute shit out of it, and being like, all right, I feel like I've adventured my way through this entire thing. Let's go to the next place, and just kind of like being able to build up my sense of familiarity and also conquering this world, you know? I would say that's about like the more interesting part of it. Is just also being like, oh, when I'm in this cold environment, I need peppers, but not if I have this outfit with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorite things about that. I'm just gonna put the sword on my back, and I don't have to worry.
The mechanic for that is like it's so unique. The mechanics of it, and the physics engine is wild. I love it.
So, and also, I feel like it also just playing this game that required me to be a bit better in terms of how I'm manually using a controller, just made me better at playing with controllers for even other games as well. Like once
interesting.
I started figuring out how to actually do the fancier moves rather than my usual scoping out in the background as an FPS player.
Right.
And try and line up this shot real quick. Once I started figuring out those mechanics a bit better, like I started realizing I could translate that into other games, and I'm actually
Very cool.
Interesting.
I think that's the most difficult
Transformative
part.
content.
I think the controls are like the biggest learning curve for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
They
and I
are.
think it's probably the biggest turnoff. Like, it is so easy to do something extremely dumb.
But this is actually why I rage quit Breath of the Wild, because there's no real tutorial about how to use the mechanics. And so I felt like an idiot who couldn't do anything, who's going on Reddit to figure out how to make fire. And people are like, there's multiple ways. I'm like, stop. Just give me, like, there should be a 30-second YouTube video of, like something as silly as that. Like, you're not getting clear instructions for it. It made me feel very dumb and frustrated. And so then Breath of the Wild, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, at least you had Tutorial Island, where I was like, thank you. Now I know what I need to do.
Yeah, well, I think what they were doing with Breath of the Wild is very much like there's all this stuff out there, and it's totally up to you to figure it out and when to figure it out.
Yes.
And I think that's why people loved it at that time, is because no other game other than the Souls games were that kind of hands-off.
But also, like, I mean, I know Breath of the Wild came out earlier technically on the Wii U, but it really had its renaissance on the Switch.
Well, it was a simultaneous release.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless, the renaissance of it was Switch on that specific what's it called,
It was the launch
console,
title for that.
and Pandemic, because that's when people actually had that time to
sink
like
in.
sink 4 hours a day into this game and like figure stuff out, or just enjoy the world, or be like, oh my god, green, I'm inside and I'm depressed, right? Like, this is very obviously, you know, Pandemic was much worse than that, but as an example of, like, I think that's when it really kind of hit its popularity.
It's interesting because I think the game was, I think I remember them talking about designing the game for the Switch, where they said, I guess it didn't really pan out, but they said we wanted to split it up so people could pick up the Switch, play 15 minutes to do a shrine, and then turn it off.
Right.
Well,
But in practice, I think most people, when they do play, it's
I was
going to be
gonna
for 2 hours,
I
not
was
15
gonna say, in
minutes.
practice,
No,
that's
no.
not
The
like...
problem is there's no real linear progression of where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and there's no
working your way
critical
through the world.
path.
So the problem is that this happened in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You had like these tutorial shrines that would teach you how to deflect, how to shoot an arrow, how to merge this fire fruit onto this arrow. But because you're not playing it in a linear fashion, you're going to be experiencing those shrines out of order. So you're going to be suddenly deadlocked into a very difficult shrine.
Yeah.
But then when you're like 100 hours in, you're like, oh wow, I found a tutorial shrine.
It's-
This is useless
yeah.
for me right now.
Yeah.
I experienced that like way late in the game, like almost near the end. I find a shrine's like, oh, here's how to shoot an arrow. I'm like, well,
Well, this is like, 80 hours ago, but I already know how to do that.
It's like, thanks,
so
pal,
Thanks,
for...
pal, for the quick tutorial, I guess.
Did you find which did you play which did you play first, Tears of the Kingdom or Elden Ring?
Elden Ring, yes.
So then from the Elden Ring experience going into the Tears of the Kingdom, what was your opinion?
So I feel like it should, in theory, be easy to make the comparison because they're open world games. You go around, you craft stuff. Elden Ring doesn't quite craft. You like upgrade things, but you go around.
There's more crafting than previous.
Yeah, you explore and kill things, but for some reason in practice, they ended up being totally different experiences to me. Going into Tears of the Kingdom, I didn't really have expectations for it because I was like, it's going to be Breath of the Wild, except like with a slightly different mechanic. Maybe that's why I loved it so much, because I was just expecting Breath of the Wild reskin.
Right.
Tears of the Kingdom I super enjoyed for everything they upgraded. Like, I didn't expect this game to have NPCs that had thoughts or feelings, really. But like, you go around, like the NPC, like the knights, when they journey around and they fight the monsters, and like you recognize them from the first game. It's like, oh, it's this person again. Who in the
Cool.
first game they were really scared, and you save them from bandits. So like, I'm never going to be this helpless again. And then you see her later in Tears of the Kingdom, and she's like leading the soldiers.
That's awesome.
It was neat seeing that kind of stuff, or NPCs who pay attention to certain decisions that are made. I don't know. And on top of the NPC things, they really improved the shrines. Somebody wrote an article about how Super Mario World designs their levels of like, here's the base version, here's a complex version, and then here's like the putting it all together.
Right.
The shrines in Tears of the Kingdom are very fun, I think. They tutorialize their own internal mechanics in a nice way.
Okay, good.
They do. I did find it was easier to navigate my way through the shrines of Tears of the Kingdom, much easier than Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild is looking at tutorials left and right.
Yep.
Like, there's that one where it's like, oh, you gotta use your controller to tilt this ball
Yeah.
through the main.
Oh, I hated that
Oh,
one.
that was like one of my first shrines, and I was like,
Oh, no.
I'm never gonna get a kid through this if this isn't what all the shrines are about. But with Tears of the Kingdom, I think they found a good balance of making it accessible where you don't need to rely on the community for support to get your way through it, to get your way through a shrine.
Oh, I should also quickly shout out like how awesome the fusion and ultra hand abilities are.
that
Like,
stuff was
wow.
really cool.
The imagination you can do, even if to be honest, I did just make the hover bike, and then I used that most of the game.
Sure.
But in theory, the things you could have done, and then in practice,
I mean,
there
you could
are some
crucify
really
the
funny things
Koroks
you can
in
do. Yes.
there. Like,
I did build a Korok cycle one time, like to move a Korok from A to B. Like there are some tires nearby, you can just attach them to the backpack, and then make a Korok cycle. Like stick a little steering wheel on top of the other side. I love that.
All
Yeah.
right, buddy, we're going for a ride.
It really rewards creativity in a lot of cool ways, which I really appreciate.
Tobin, why didn't you like it?
It was just too big.
Interesting.
It was so I tried it after we did the Ikagan preview,
Yeah.
and I wasn't finding my way around Tutorial Island right.
Yeah.
I got to the ice area and I was like, I don't have the thing to scale this,
Yeah.
and I was like, nah, I don't want to do this. And I think I'd spent like 2 weeks practicing Breath of the Wild again. For
Yeah,
that
I
glitch
remember you were
exhibition,
telling
So I was
me.
like, I don't want anything to do with this stuff anymore. I was just done with it. And then it was earlier in the summer, I think, I picked it back up and I got into it and I was learning some glitches and I was duplicating stuff.
Yeah,
and
because you
whatever.
also play, like, you learn how to play those games from speedrunners.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't want to deal with not having the Master Sword for 20 hours.
Exactly.
Speedrunner, show me the glitch.
Yeah.
Like,
So I was putting that stuff together, and then I had a backpack full of really good things. I had lots of rupees, and then I sat there and I went, do I want to put another 100 hours into a game that I've already put like 200 hours into, thinking Breath of the Wild?
yeah.
I was like, nah, I'm not in the mood
Interesting.
for it. Probably because I put 80 hours into Elden Ring and I had played
A little
not
burned
Red
out.
Dead 2, but other bigger games last year, and was just like, I'm not in the mood for it, right? Like, I've had
Interesting.
enough of that dish that I want something else. So it just wasn't calling for me. And that was the same thing then going to Baldur's Gate 3 was the same thing of like, there's just too much. Like, it's overwhelming. It's
Yeah,
daunting.
interesting.
I found that so for the context of my playing style, especially with those longer games, both Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate I played with Emmeline, my partner.
Yeah.
And so it became like it is social time in the evening to decompress. And so there being a lot of content ended up being a feature in the sense of like, well, what are we going to do this evening?
Right. It's like, we're going to
That's
play
kind of fun
tabletop D&D
playing
or
it
we're
together.
playing-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if there's something one of us doesn't like to do, like Emmeline doesn't like doing the depths stuff. But I love just grinding away in the dark and shooting arrows and lighting things up. And then she did like most of the above ground shrines.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
A new release that is interesting from the Game Awards, and I don't know if anyone watched it or has thoughts about it, but I kind of wanted to finish this section talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and kind of how that's changing, I think, what the kind of game space is going to be in the next year. But what is their name called? Epic. Epic released a collaboration with Psyonix, so they make Rocket League. And essentially they made like a Mario Kart Rocket League, so it's just racing, it's not actually the kind of sports game. So I've been playing that and it's fascinating. And then Lego Fortnite is just as great as you might think as it sounds.
Oh
right?
my God.
On par with like other Lego type games.
So it's not that kind of like satirical stuff, like it's literally it's Valheim,
Yeah.
but you're a Lego character.
Oh my goodness.
Interesting.
It's beautiful and it's free. And then they essentially made Rock Band within Fortnite, which I haven't tried yet. Those are the new things.
Rock Band lives on.
Yeah, and it's made by Harmonix too. Like they
Oh,
got these people and were
nice,
like,
nice,
"Hey,
nice.
we'll give you a blank check. Come make games for our platform." which I think
Nice,
is
nice.
fascinating. Right. Okay. So, did anyone watch the Game Awards?
I did not, unfortunately.
Not this year. Not
So
this year.
Astarion won.
Yeah,
like,
best
Astarian's voice actor.
performance.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, that's all I needed.
Baldur's Gate swept and everyone was expecting it.
They didn't
Yeah.
sweep as much as you might think. Alan
good
Wake
games.
2
Did they
won.
lose out on stuff that you
They
wanted?
won Best Performance, Best RPG, and Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Alan Wake won everything else. that they were-
Interesting.
Best narrative, best something, best score. Like they won a ton of stuff.
Interesting.
Check out Alan Wake.
Alan
Yeah.
Wake 2,
I've
yeah,
heard a lot of good things about Alan Wake 2.
Seems like your type of game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's kind of horror-ish.
Ish.
Interesting.
Slash
That would be a
shooter-ish.
Sid and I play together thing.
Yeah. And it's weird.
That's usually how we play horror.
It's European developers, so it's like
Oh,
that kind
okay.
of
I would have.
weirdness.
Interesting.
Remedy is, but also play Control first,
Yeah.
and then play Alan Wake 2, because that game
Interesting.
is
Interesting.
So Baldur's Gate 3 won best or game of the year in a year that like Starfield is released and et cetera, stuff like that. Do you, from your recollection or understanding of kind of what it does, do you feel that games, whether they're RPGs or not, will change with that as kind of this new poster child of quality? Yeah.
Interesting.
I think what is really clear with the Game Awards is that it awards, usually, from my understanding of having watched and watched how the Game Awards usually happens, is it awards the big games. So
The creative ones, like
creative
Elden Ring swept last year.
Yes, that.
Like
Yeah.
Elden Ring.
As it should have.
Yeah,
As it should have, right?
It's just, it shows a level of like time and attention, a lot of detail that you're putting into it, a lot of good voice acting that comes with it, a lot of strong writing that comes out of it. And now that, especially because there's so many D&D elements involved with Baldur's Gate 3, I'm wondering if other games might incorporate more of those types of elements.
Again?
More narrative.
It's interesting because games are kind of capsules of contemporary societal attitudes, right? And I mean, we've seen kind of the shift into cozier gameplay or games that can kind of balance both. I think that was actually a big aspect of Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, we completely glossed over. I love how it was just highlighting AC and Sid's why they loved it, and then we completely glossed over why Toben and I don't like it. But maybe that's not a conversation for this podcast.
Yeah, we're running.
But anyways. But as an example, I know some people who treated Tears of the Kingdom as like a cozy gameplay thing, right? Or having that level of personalization, right?
Yeah,
and I'm seeing even a trend now with social media of just like having that like one-on-one interaction, like more of that personalized element, while understanding the parasocial boundary, of course, which often comes from both ends, not just the user end, but it should also come from the creator end. So I am wondering if games like Baldur's Gate, kind of with that, what you mentioned, like said, the D&D element, right? Like that gives that level of personalization, right? That little touch of personality.
It's
it's
your
you,
story,
right? Like
right.
or where you can play Baldur's Gate solo or with others, right? And again, having that cooperative aspect of like playing with someone, right? Like, and again, a lot of stuff that I think is just coming out of the pandemic, right? Like just a need to kind of to socialize through other means and have a little bit of that personal touch and just feel more in tune with things and not just and I also think, Sid, you're right, like the care and Catholic people right now are very socially aware of like all the dirty deeds of the industry, and it's like when you know that like time and care came into a game and you can see that effort and the fruitfulness come out, it's like people want to appreciate that, right?
Wow, who knew having writers was part of your team?
Yes.
And not just like a few, they had like dozens. Like
Yeah.
each character's main story had writers. They had world writers, they had quest writers. Like there's so many people.
Yeah, because I actually have a theory about like some rumors that came out with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom that there was going to be a third entry into that specific capsuled world. I don't think that's happening anymore, but at a time it was a big rumor that it was happening, and I had a theory that it would probably be the Born This Way effect that would happen with that third game. So for those who don't know, it's Lady Gaga released the Fame Monster EP, wildly successful, almost every single song charted, and then because of that hype, people sunk and prepaid and pre-bought the Born This Way album. And then, that album was record-breaking, but people didn't actually enjoy it as much. Right. So then when her subsequent album, Art Pop, came out after that, people weren't just that interested. Yeah. So I was curious because Breath of the Wild was so wildly popular. So many people prepaid, pre-bought Tears of the Kingdom. But I heard a lot more complaints come out about it, just narrative-wise. So I was curious that if a third iteration would come out. Like, obviously, it's a Nintendo game, and it's Zelda. It would sell out. But if the numbers would be slightly lower or more critique if they kind of follow that same formula. That's my theory. But now, there is no third game coming out, so, we'll never see the fruition of this theory.
We need Wind Waker.
It will remain a game theory.
Absolutely. But yeah, because what was I going to say about all of that? Oh, like, one of the things that we just haven't mentioned is 2023 was such a feast of riches, right? Like, we could pick anything and everything. There was so much to choose from. And I think it was really funny, the circles that I lurk in Reddit, people being like, yeah, Starfield is great, and then a week later being like, nope, I'm already back to Baldur's Gate 3, right? Like they dip their toes, and it's like this cool thing because it's new, and they're like, nah, it's just really shallow. And that was like Diablo 4, I saw that. Starfield, I saw that.
Fascinating.
I heard a lot of stuff
other
about
stuff.
Starfield of just like, well, it's you get what you get.
Yeah.
When it comes with that, it's just like, again, it's trying to be a live service game, and there's only so much
but
story
even
you can get out of a live service game that, again, that doesn't have that definitive ending.
But even Pokemon's, what was it? The new one,
Scarlet and
Scarlet and Violet. Like
That
people,
sold
do you know how many
really well.
video essays came out on YouTube of like Pokemon has a problem? Like
Oh,
if this
yeah,
is
it's
the
had a
level
problem
of,
for a long time.
but if this is the level of game coming out now, where everyone who was saying Sword and Shield was bad is like, yikes! After Scarlet
Sword
and
Shield's
Violet,
great.
it's amazing
And
in
I knew that even
comparison.
before Scarlet
I
and
mean,
Violet. I came around
me
on
too.
that.
Me
yeah,
too. I
big
really
time.
like Sword and Shield. Not, but this is not.
It's been
not
bad
a popular
since X.
opinion, but Toben and I tend to have the same opinion about games. So
Yeah.
you know,
I thought it was great.
but
yeah,
Scarlet,
it's my-
AC, God bless. Finally, but Scarlet and Violet was bad. It was buggy. It was
Yeah, it's
embarrassing
weird.
for a Nintendo game to come out so destroyed.
graphics were
I remember
so trash.
I remember you were asking me. You're like, "How bad is this game?" I was like, "Well, let's go on Discord. Let me share my screen, and let me show you." And you were like laughing hysterically, Sid, because you're like, or the glitching.
Or the glitching
Like-
was so
Lots of
bad, or
glitching.
just like even like the notion of going into a storefront, you have to do like a whole cutscene because they didn't load anything in properly.
You can't even walk into the store. It's just like a random 2D screen of like, here's what you buy. I'm like, no, let me go into the Spanish store, Pokemon.
Octopath one.
I want to go buy like
Yeah.
my special Spanish
Berries,
ham,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and my berries.
Eat your sausages. Let's shift and we'll talk about the stuff that we've taken in this year that haven't been games that are noteworthy. So AC, you've been reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson, it looks like.
Yes.
Or listening
He's my
to.
favorite author. I'm so
Are you
glad you're
serious?
there. Oh, yeah, I saw
Okay.
some of the stuff you wrote and I was like, oh,
Oh.
All right.
fabulous
Let's
novel.
talk
Love this
Cosmere
one.
then. AC, start us off.
Yes. Pretty good.
Okay.
Okay,
What,
so-
what's been a
Yes,
standout?
So
Mistborn.
yes.
Don't start about Mistborn. Okay.
You didn't
So-
like
Oh,
Mistborn?
I have thoughts about Mistborn.
Oh, I enjoyed Mistborn. I've been listening to it with my partner. So listening to Arrow 1 Mistborn again with my partner.
Yes.
There are so many things that I'm like hearing someone say, which I can't say without spoiling, but like somebody's dog like does something. I'm like, and you know it's a hint for something that happens
Right.
like way later.
What I can say about Mistborn is, Tobin, contain your thoughts.
Oh, I'm not going to share them here.
For me, when I read Mistborn, I was like, this is such a unique magic system. I was like, finally something new, like the whole magnetic stuff. Like, I was just so bored of fantasy novels when I stumbled upon Brandon Sanderson that I was like, oh, so unique. Like, the type of magic in it is so cool. I mean, the subsequent novels, like, they fell downhill, but that first one especially was, and all of Brandon Sanderson's, like, I think Elantris too.
Oh,
Oh.
yes. Okay, now we can talk.
Yeah.
Elantris is his best piece of work.
It is.
Yeah.
It's such.
Interesting.
I've reread it like 3-4 times.
Have you read Tress?
Oh, yeah. Tress,
Okay.
I would say Tress is number 2.
Okay,
The only one-
we're
the
going
only
through
one-
Tress right now, and wow,
The only one I
Yeah.
haven't finished is the one, the Seven Swords or whatever it's called. That like tome that's like this
The
big.
Way of Kings?
Maybe it's that one. Yeah.
Well, all of those are big. So that's that
No,
whole
No.
the
Something
Stormlight
about
Archive
swords
is
where the
fun.
guy has like a lightning sword at the beginning. Yeah, maybe it's that one. I've only gotten halfway through that one,
Yeah,
and then I
we'll
was like,
keep
this
pushing
is a lot.
because
Yeah,
those books get like that's his magnum opus.
Yes,
is that
yes.
I have a
thing.
feeling that is going to be the equivalent of Game of Thrones in terms of ubiquity.
Yes.
and
But
stuff.
it's like for
written
him,
like
especially as an author, all his stories have such unique magic
Yeah.
systems.
Yeah.
It's not like he's kind of recycling his material. They're very succinct, compact worlds, and it's like his creativity is amazing. He also teaches creative writing in the States, apparently.
Yeah, he
very
does.
good
So-
lectures.
He has he has lectures on YouTube.
Yeah,
I think-
they're really good.
I think my favorite thing about the Cosmere books and his writing style in general is like every time they bring something up, usually you think to yourself, why don't they just use this to do blank? And then 2 lines later, they say, hey, how about we use this to do blank? Like, there's no plot holes left unturned or random
Yeah.
refrigerator thoughts of like, but
Yeah.
if this can cut through anything, can't you, I don't know, use it for things other than killing people? And then they immediately
They start carving out a cave to sleep in because like a storm is coming. Or
yeah, and I'm like,
something, right? Yeah, a high
thank
storm,
you
yeah.
for
You're
actually
like-
thinking through
Yes,
this.
yes.
Practical use of these magical weapons.
It's like there's a storm brewing. Time to sleep in the
Yeah,
cave I
sleep in the
just
cave,
made.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Cave of Wonders.
Yeah, what got me, so I read Elantris, I was like, okay, I'm fully on board. And then because I was so familiar with, so I read Elantris, I was fully on board. Then I read Mistborn, and I hated it.
interesting.
I don't think that world is interesting. The magic system is, I'm sure it's interesting, but I don't like how he writes it.
Interesting.
What I mean by that
I will
is,
say it's boring. Like I like the first book. The subsequent 2, the romance was also not great.
I very much didn't enjoy the second one, and then I read what happens in the third book on Wikipedia because I was like, there's no way I'm doing this again.
Oh my God.
But my critique of that magic system is that essentially it's all about math,
Yes.
right? So
But I kinda like
if I
that.
push at you with 4 and you push back at 5, then I have this 1 I have to do with.
But
And
I
if
kind
I
of
don't
like
have
that.
the power to deal with 1, then I get knocked back, right?
But I kind of like that.
And so I read so much of that when I went to Stormlight Archive, I was like, I'm so sick of how you write combat, because it was the same thing, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick you to the ceiling, I'm gonna push you to the side. It was like the same kind of stuff, and I was like, come on. And then I eventually was able to push through it, and then Stormlight Archives eventually gets really good. But yeah, Tress of the Emerald Sea.
Yeah. I haven't
started
read that one.
Okay, it's his Princess Bride.
Oh, okay.
Like
I
he says
read-
afterwards that
The only
that's-
other one I've read is, I don't know if AC maybe you've read, it's the really small one, something about an empress.
Oh,
And it was like the
Emperor's Emperor Soul.
Yeah,
that's my favorite book.
I like that
actually.
one too a
Yeah.
lot. I really did.
That one was. I like how it explores questions about what it means to make good art or the
Yes.
artistic process.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very
He won a-
philosophical.
Yes.
He won
I
a
did.
Hugo for that, I think.
He
right?
did.
Good. You
Yeah.
deserve that.
Yeah, as somebody
We should fact check that before.
Yeah.
Was there Hugo?
who hasn't like he's not, I don't know, I feel like he's acclaimed, but it's not like he's, you know, I don't feel like I hear his name as much as like other writers. Unless you talk about his $50 million Kickstarter campaign, which is freaking amazing. Sid, you've been watching Naruto.
Oh my god.
Or Naruto if you do the dub.
Yeah. He did
so
win a
to
Hugo.
preface, I never watched any anime growing up. It just wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't on your farm revision.
No, it was not.
No Sailor Moon,
the
no.
The two channels I had access to growing
Yeah.
up, not at all. And there was a time where a lot of so basically Mandalorian season 3, I didn't like it, not at all.
Rip.
So then
I've completely fallen off of any of that stuff. You can talk trash about everything Marvel and Disney. I don't care anymore.
And I was just looking for new media because right now in the hellscape that we're in, a lot of media is just produced really terribly. Like, of course, because we're in the age of streaming, they'll like put something
Crank
up
it
for a
out.
season and then never finish
Ugh,
it. And then I'm like, why even bother
Yep.
watching this one season of trash television that's not going to go anywhere? So because of that, Pam was just like, hey, you know what you should do? Watch Naruto.
Start-
I was like, okay.
It's like my favorite anime, and no one so many people have like bad opinions about Naruto, but I grew
Naruto's
up with
great.
it.
Oh, I thought Death
Oh,
Note would be your
fabulous.
favorite or something.
No,
Interesting.
Naruto was the first one.
So
Death Note I have mixed feelings about.
Huh.
But that's a conversation for
Yeah.
another
I
day.
I can see the exact
We'll
moment
connect
when
later,
it could've
AC.
ended.
I'll
The
text you
anime
later.
podcast.
knowing I was
Yeah.
signing myself up for 700 odd episodes.
But you like
yeah,
long media
I
too.
do like
That's why I
long
was
media.
like-
I binge
Yeah.
so much stuff. And so Pam created this very nice document of here are
Skip
the,
these, watch
here you can
these.
skip these.
Yeah.
I was like
You can go back to
all of
these.
them.
Yeah.
You can watch all of these. These are the ones with a story in them, and so it was a very nice compact list for me to watch.
And it was like with checks,
It was,
so I could.
she's like,
Good
she
idea.
made sure to check in on my progress and then to check out the episodes. We discussed it at lunch all of the time. And it was really good because there was a lot of like very high moments, and then the war arc happened.
Oh, and
A
it
lot
fell
of
apart.
stuff starts happening all at once, and then she made me watch this filler arc involving Yoda. This little weird
Oh,
child,
okay.
and everyone was just like, "Oh my god, how could we forget about Yoda? Don't y'all remember Yoda?"
Well, also like Sid called it within like the first moment of seeing Toby, as like laughing other voice Toby. Sid was like, "Is this Obito?" And I was like, "This is too early." Straight up, I lied. I was like, "No."
I have a really uncanny ability of guessing big twists immediately.
But I was
Sure.
like, that ruins the creativity. So I was like, no. But then,
lied to me.
and Sid was so upset when they found out. But the amount of theories and the really cool theories Sid had about who Toby was, I was like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. And then Sid found out, and Sid was like, it texted me, was like, you lied to me. I was like, 100%, and I would
Yeah,
do it
but you-
again. Like,
Lying to preserve that kind of stuff is not a bad thing. Yeah.
So, and it was just super interesting, especially since like I'm watching this as a binger because I'm
Yeah.
not watching it episode by episode. So of course I can skip all of the fillers
or
and
some
all this-
repetition, right?
Right,
At like
yeah.
the beginning 10 minutes of
and
episodes.
just get to the absurdity that is Madara Uchiha coming back in. And then in universe, this is like he's been resurrected for maybe an hour, even though this is like 200 episodes
Oh, yeah.
of him just absolutely tearing through everyone's defenses all at once. And I'm just like, this is great. What a great hour this man had coming back to life.
200 episodes worth.
Wrecking everyone's shit and then dying.
It is.
It's just that type of stuff is really funny to me. It was very interesting in terms of the world building, but then
Yeah, it's a
also
weird world.
how it all falls apart immediately at the end. And then but there's aliens, and I'm just like,
there's aliens in Naruto.
Oh yeah, at the very
God.
end, it ruins
What?
it. No, it ruins it. Honestly, I think because something to consider is also the manga industry. I think some of this, Toben, is like the manga industry is bad.
It's always behind.
No, but it's also like it burns.
Oh well,
people
yeah,
out.
people die at their desk.
Literally, people die at their desks, and I think Kishimoto was just exhausted with the series because in the war arc, he's not really bringing in new characters. I think he just didn't have the space to, because he's a character builder. He's not so much a world builder as like the personality of his characters, and he just didn't know what to do anymore. And he made the
war arcs are boring.
Yeah,
like they're boring to read.
But what's funny is the beginning of the war arc was interesting.
There was an interesting build up to it, but then the problem was he used this thing called
the resurrection jutsu,
That's the Dragon Balls that starts messing everything.
Yeah, and then he's like, I don't know how to end this. The Uchiha are too powerful aliens, and I'm like,
wait, so are the eyes connected to aliens?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Bloodborne. It's all connected to Bloodborne.
The terrible part is it's also you're seeing the build up between Sasuke and Naruto, and just seeing how they're developing his characters.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're buddy, they're working together.
Because the
aliens.
aliens.
And you think, when's it gonna happen? Because immediately after alien goddess dies, they immediately fight, and it's like
there's no point for them to fight at that point.
But like
But
the fans were waiting for a fight.
Oh yeah. But then
At
it
the
makes
end
no
somehow.
sense, right? Like
Yeah.
there's like all of the character building Sasuke had was destroyed within a number of 50 episodes, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill you anyways," and we're like, "What?" And then
but I'm also gonna become Hokage.
and everyone's like, "What?"
If you want to destroy the Leaf Village, like you want to suddenly lead them now, like
It feels a bit like authors sitting down and being like, okay, what are people wanting out of this? Like, they need to fight. We need a war that showcases every character, and somehow I have to make the stakes higher and the powers bigger than anything else.
Or he didn't have to. Kishimoto, like, I think there was one moment where he accidentally made everyone too powerful in a single arc, and then it was like, oh, shit.
Too late now.
Because even all the like 600 episodes of world building ninja magic rules out the window. Garbage.
It
Like,
doesn't matter if you're burning through all your jutsu. Chakra doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's too bad. Because I think, like,
who needs strategy
it's
fighting?
the limitations that make that stuff interesting.
Yeah.
You can't just unplug
And then
people.
once you throw away the limitations, it's like, well, then why bother anymore? I'm just watching some people fight right now.
Yeah.
I think, like, the peak of, like, Naruto's, like, fighting concept. Well, okay. Sakura's in the first arc of Shippuden was amazing. But, like, also...
Is it, though?
I liked
She
it.
was controlled by another lady.
True.
Right?
True.
Chio Basama was the one pulling the strings on her. So
Pulling
how
the
good
strings.
was she actually?
Yeah.
Like,
But like the
but
fighting.
sure, that was her peak. Everyone
Yeah.
agrees that was her peak, and it died ever
Rip.
since.
Can't believe it. Anyway, but like in terms of the fighting and power level, I loved when something like, that was actually a clone, and then he's actually behind you, when that was like the limit.
Yeah.
Little things like that
Pain-
used to be
the pain
surprising
arc.
and good. Oh, the pain arc.
The pain arc was probably the peak of the series.
Yes. Yeah.
And the Sasuke becomes a terrorist arc. It's always just fun because everyone's like, finally he gets his retribution.
I loved the little musical accompaniment when Sasuke was being like a cowboy, basically.
Yes. The ninja cowboy rock star.
Well, I need to catch up on Naruto, apparently.
Yes. I can give you now a succinct little
Oh.
document.
I also can't watch anime.
No, see, there you go. Did you read it?
I read Naruto.
Okay, I read Naruto too. It's better.
Oh,
It's
of
better
course
in
it
the
is,
reading,
yeah.
right? It's more
Makes
violent.
Speaking of reading versus watching, did any of y'all watch the Netflix One Piece adaptation?
No.
Okay.
No, I hear it's
You
Do
said
that over
good
the
things.
holidays. That was
You're like, all of you do it, or I'm gonna come to all of your little desks and ask you about it on January 3rd.
because we know how terrible, especially anime to live action.
Yeah,
goes,
but you
right?
said it was really good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Good for
One Piece is probably the reason why I make stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so I was watching it and I literally had goosebumps because I felt the way that I did when I first read it as like a 14-year-old.
Oh,
And there were moments where I like almost started crying because I was like, this feeling I have right now is what I want my work to create in others.
Yeah, that's so
And to have that
nice.
happen as an adaptation
Yeah.
is so rare.
Very rare.
Exactly.
Live action has,
Especially anime live action.
Yeah.
So bad. I mean, let's not get started about the Death Note adaptations, the multiple of them.
Well,
terrible.
my complaint is Cowboy Bebop adaptation.
Oh,
that
that one's bad too.
absolutely terrible. With one of the greatest animes probably of all time.
Yeah,
and
it
then
is,
you do
Cowboy
that,
Bebop.
It just did not work. So do yourselves a favor, go watch that over the holidays. The other thing I want to bring up as an adaptation that I guess kind of classifies as anime is Arcane, League of Legends.
Interesting.
Amazing. That
Was
has
it?
to be I think the top animation.
I just like the
I've
music
seen.
that came out of it.
The thing is, the animation is gorgeous.
It's insane.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
all the people are kind of like painted.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And then any kind of effects like smoke
Yeah.
or fire, it's all hand drawn.
Yeah.
So you get this weird like juxtaposition
For me,
of
it
like
was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
so
that kind of stuff.
good.
So if you like
Yeah.
that, Arcane does that, but it's 8
Okay,
hours
nice.
instead of an hour. and a half.
And it also made people be like, oh, what's this League of Legends?
Yeah, no, that's
Oh,
literally
no.
that's what happened to me. I spent the rest of the summer playing like Runeterra, which is their card game.
Stop.
I didn't play the main game.
That's
I have
good.
not downloaded the main game, but I played all the adjacent
At
stuff.
least you know small things.
Yeah,
Small thing.
it's really good. Let's talk about football and then we'll close.
Oh yeah,
American or European?
American football.
Oh boy, okay.
So yeah, basically some of my for me in general, I don't get into anything until I've heard it from 7 unrelated people talking about it.
Okay, it's a strange
And
rule.
Through Oh, it's like I don't literally count to 7.
Okay.
But I have to hear it recommended by people who are different from each other enough that it's like, okay, this is probably a thing.
Okay.
And eventually I heard like the 7th person talking about like just watching football and enjoying football, and I realized I don't know anything about sports.
Ah.
And I thought if I'm going to be a game designer, I should probably know, this major element of game that people are playing
Right.
and like what is the appeal of sport. So I kind of did a quick survey of all the sports, all of the main sports.
Okay.
And landed on football because I really liked the tactics. And I was
Yes.
also just coming off
Interesting.
of like a chess binge.
Okay.
And it's like, the types of openings you do, and especially the plays from the offensive coordinator perspective and
Right.
the things that the quarterback has to pay attention to. I really like seeing the tactics of like,
Interesting.
you send certain people out to like make the defense run a certain way, and then you throw the football deep somewhere, or maybe they're covered, and so the quarterback has to make a quick decision of, you know what, I'm actually just going to run this thing.
Yeah.
I really liked seeing those tactics to start. And then I chose a team. My friend chose Vikings. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll follow the Vikings. And I'm starting to
and you're
see,
like, now I love them. Allegiance to them. Like, I just.
well, the past few weeks I've been not.
I'll buy you a Vikings
optimal.
hat for Christmas.
Their logo isn't. If I
It
was
was-
choosing purely on logo, it wouldn't be Vikings.
It was that was my high
Truly
school
on
logo.
aesthetics.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Choosing on logo.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins.
Ah.
Okay, I'll buy you a Dolphins hat.
Thanks. Yeah. But I'm learning a lot about what makes sports fun, and a lot of it is like obviously probably expected, but like the fandom
Yeah.
or fans. They probably don't call it
Oh
fandom.
no, there is fandom.
Yeah.
Get
The
into like
religion,
European
especially in
football.
football.
Or then you get into fantasy football.
Yes,
Uh-huh,
that's. I think
uh-huh,
that's the end game of like enjoying football. Because it's certainly not for watching ads every 20 seconds. The
No.
fantasy bit and like in sports, I'm noticing everything becomes symbolic. It's like, oh, if this wins, this is me winning,
Yeah.
or like my state or country
Yeah.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like this victory or loss reflects something on me somehow.
Yes.
It's really interesting, even watching it happen to myself. Like, why am I caring that they win? It's somehow I'm taking it personally that Dobbs keeps throwing these interceptions. I don't know. It's really interesting to follow and to learn about a new thing for me that makes people happy and seeing how people get joy out of it.
Very cool. I also think it's fascinating that you're looking at it from an offensive perspective. Because when I played, I was on the defense, and so I always watched football, being like, "Hey, what are the defense going to do?"
Oh.
So it's interesting
Interesting.
that,
Oh,
like,
come
you
back
as
to
a
Vikings then.
newcomer, yeah, we're going to do that. All right, let's conclude with what are we excited for in 2024? Perhaps a game, movie, novel, something like that. Pam, what are you excited for in 2024?
Oh my god. I mean, I've started. I think I just have so many games that I've purchased that I haven't had time to play.
Ori.
That's one of them, correct. No, this entire year has just been kind of a shit show. I feel like everyone I've talked to is saying that. So there's like Chance of Senar. I really want to kind of get into. I've heard really good things that it's like a journey, but like language acquisition thing.
Very
So you have
cool.
to actually learn different languages in like a Tower of Babel
Is that
situation.
the ruins one? The runes?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link, AC. You might be interested in it from
Yeah,
a game
I think I
design
know which one you're
perspective.
talking about.
It looks like Journey almost, from what I've seen graphically. And I honestly, like, I have Elden Ring, I haven't started it. I have Dead Space, the remake, I haven't started
Oh,
it. I
goodness.
have Resident Evil 4, haven't started it. Some of these is, I think, mostly also because,
turning
like,
into
when I
Neil.
play, because Sid can't turn into, Sid can't play horror, but Sid can watch horror.
Right.
So usually, because we're good friends, we're just like, the way Sid experiences horror is vicariously through watching me. So because we haven't had time, I'm like, well, I can't crack this game open, because then Sid will be like, you started this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know where we are. And I'm like, well, all right, pal. So I think I'm just excited to maybe, I don't know. I've also like, I've really been into watching like Animal Crossing New Horizon builds, so on YouTube, because I just find the world building really interesting. So I think I just need a relaxing year of maybe just getting to the games I've wanted to, and kind of like used to be a notorious replayer. Like I just kind of want to get into some of the games that I miss, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm interested in new media right now. I have so many things I've purchased and I haven't had time to, and yeah.
Probably the healthiest type of response today.
Thank you, everyone. That's like 6 years of therapy.
Cutting down the backlog is really important.
Yeah.
AC.
One game that's been recommended by one of my friends is called Book of Hours.
Ooh.
He calls it a Lorevania.
Lorevania.
Yeah,
fascinating.
So if like a castle, what's that word? Castlevania plus another game? Metroidvania, yeah.
Oh.
So if a Metroidvania is a game where you play and then you're in a limited area, you unlock new abilities, and that lets you explore further and further as you retread the same ground, but now you're better, so it feels cool. This Lorevania, apparently, is one where as you gain more information, things that previously seemed just unremarkable are suddenly take importance, and you can lean into that and start doing more and more just from gathering knowledge alone. So I don't know anything about it other than that, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this one, Book of Hours. And probably going to keep playing Baldur's Gate. And I don't know when the Elden Ring expansion or DLC is coming out, but whenever that happens, that's
probably next fall.
Yeah.
I would say probably in the fall. Sid, are you cracking into Baldur's Gate 3? I'd love to hear your thoughts on a playthrough.
Maybe that'll be my project.
I know Stuart has been trying to get Sid and I to play it with him, so
I don't think Pam. You might like watching Sid play.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
They definitely got a lot of good story.
I mean, I like the story. I see. This is again why I'm so weird when it comes to open world, because you would think Tears of the Kingdom has my name written all over it, and yet I was supremely overwhelmed by the game. But in theory, it's like the way Sid describes playing open world games. I like playing for that reason too. But so who knows? But
my little charts and my checklists. So I'm very much keen on that teased Stardew Valley update.
Oh yes. 1.6.
Toben, you were supposed to make a big Stardew that we could all collectively farm on because no one has time to see each other. Where's that coming?
But you have to do that together. That's the point. I could make it and no one's still going to use it.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to just play Lego Fortnite together. It's free.
Lego Fortnite.
Stardew Valley board game.
But right now it's also just like I really do want to get back into maybe doing an actual complete 100% run of Stardew Valley, but that requires
that's
a
big.
massive checklist.
Actually, okay,
Yeah.
this is Dr. Kaylee MacArthur here at the GI. This is how she got through her PhD and what she suggested to her friends. I think you'll enjoy this. The thing that got her through writing the PhD, once it came to the actual writing part, so once you're done the proposal, you make a Stardew Valley farm.
Yeah.
But a specific one that you only play while you're writing as like breaks in between the PhD writing thing.
Probably.
So then when you complete the PhD or whatever, you also have like a farm that kind of showcases it's a good backdrop, it's a good reward, and it's kind of like something that's been completed alongside the project. So if you want to do the completionist run, maybe do it then when you're actually getting into the meat of writing the dissertation.
I need to set up the actual so I have my checklists and things I need to check off.
Exactly.
Through, online
tons of
guides.
wikis.
Maybe you should buy the mega guide.
The mega guide. No, we'll see.
Well,
that's just kind of like what I wouldn't mind getting back into, because I'm just like, I just love little farming simulators like that. And just alright. And also like the weird restrictions you can put on yourself. So my latest run was doing the anti-capitalist run, which is basically you're not buying anything.
Oh yeah, you just
even seeds?
Find all the seeds.
So what you can farm like wild seeds and then plant those, and those can maybe turn into something. And when you harvest, you have something that you can put through a seed mill and get more of.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not just like no Joja, like not even Pierre.
Not even Pierre.
Wow.
That's cool.
That is cool. I've heard of like fishing only and orchard only and stuff like that. I like how much you can try to make it your own thing.
So
Very
many
cool.
Yeah.
things you can put on yourself and just like actually make a successful farm out of it. And I'm like, wow, I wish that was reality.
Yeah. I accidentally did mining only. Like
Mining.
A mine run.
Yeah.
You yearn for
not
the
really on
mines.
purpose.
So much money in those mines, though.
Yeah.
That was the capitalist run. The mine
you
run.
got
Mines, yeah.
Get the blood diamond.
Best friends with Clint.
And I'm just excited for Hades 2. There are other games, but Hades
Yeah.
2 is like
That's 2024.
Yes.
I thought it was 2025, but no,
Q-
good to know.
Q2 of 2024.
Nice.
For early access at least, but I'm gonna buy it anyway, so I might as well get early access.
Yes.
Nice.
I think Supergiant is one of those. I don't enjoy Supergiant games for the literal lore of the individual games, but rather their process and the way they express themselves when making games, which is very good for long-term enjoyment of whatever variety they happen to put out.
Yeah.
And this one is is even the least amount of variety technically. It's Hades 2.
Yeah, it's the first sequel. And that's why I think why I'm fascinated about it.
Yeah.
Is like each
To
of their
see
games
can
in
they
a
do it
way is a
again?
sequel.
Yeah.
They all use the same control scheme, like all the buttons do the same thing, but they're all slightly different. And now that this is like a continuation of the story, what are they doing? I don't know. And it's also
Honestly,
magic and there's cool stuff.
Even if it's just Hades, the same scope, the same depth, the same combat, but like new writing, I would still enjoy that, honestly.
Instead of being red, it's purple and green. So
Yeah.
I like that color scheme better than like not Captain America, but like Hulk, Doctor Doom color palette. That's my preferred thing. So
Okay.
we're gonna do that.
I don't know if they're coming out in 2024. These might be 2025, but also the new Silent Hills games that are coming out, like Silent Hill F,
Jeez.
and
Finally, one of
to
the OG
remake,
franchises
but
is
also
back.
the Assassin's Creed Hex that's coming out. That I have some insider knowledge from Ubisoft will be medieval based, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I think those are 2025 though. I don't think they're 2024.
Yeah, it was weird to see games with or like trailers with 2025 in them.
Yeah,
at the-
right.
at
I'm
the
just like,
Game
stop
Awards.
it. Just tell me when there's 6 months and not like we're Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2
Well,
that
game
has gone through.
yeah.
Apparently it is now for
Yeah.
PS5, and I'm like, well, I pre-ordered it in 2020 for PS4,
Oh
so
my
either give me
goodness.
my money back, or I found the receipt. I have to email EB Games like help and be like, okay, are you gonna do this for now that the new like, are you gonna like? Because I went through EB on purpose because I was like, I don't want to get screwed. And here we are. So it's like, is it coming out? Who knows? I feel like it should be illegal to give trailers to games until like 6 months before the release. Otherwise, that's when you get the Taylor Swifty GTA 6 boys who are trying to figure out when this game is coming out.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this year-end wrap-up. Thanks for joining us, AC and Pam.
Anytime.
Thanks for having us.
And we will see you in 2024.